And today's workshop is called Selfless Service. And there's so many servitors here that are doing this selfless service and we don't even see them because they're too busy to be seen, while we're out, getting the garlands and sitting down and taking prasadam and singing in the temple and running around and doing harinam and so many other things. They're cooking, they're doing the deity worship, they're doing, they're engaged in so many different services. And even I went to the kitchen and I asked, well, can you come out here? We're having this workshop. No, we're too busy. And you can see just stacks and stacks of pots on the kitchen, on the oven. You can see the stove. You can see so many different pots boiling and cooking, and so there's always a crew. And I remember one time Srila Govinda Maharaj used the term. Well, here it looks like she's coming. Let's see. Oh, she was walking towards the door. Mela. She's in this category of selfless service because we've heard that Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he used the term suicidal squad. And he said, he gave an example. He said, during the Second World War, the Japanese, they had suicide divers, planes that would take their plane and go into a dive and crash into a ship, and they would give up their life for the country, for Japan, to attack, take out a ship with one plane, one pilot. So we even heard that and as inconceivable because they were involved in such overwhelming odds. Although they did successfully conquer so much of Asia, but overwhelming odds. And there was a story that, they said that today Japanese suicide plane dived into a Chinese boat and killed several hundred persons on the Chinese boat. And then the Chinese person said, oh, pretty soon no more Japanese. That is, there's so many billions of Chinese people that even if they take out a boat with one plane, it's overwhelming odds. But so then Guru Maharaj said when Germany heard about that, then they said, oh, we have much to learn from the Japanese. So that, but the suicide squad means one who's able to give up everything for the service of the Lord. And Srila Govinda Maharaj said that in Christianity there's the idea of self-sacrifice. But he said in Gaudiya Vaishnavism there's the principle of self-forgetfulness. So, the Christians, they'll talk about the sacrifice of Christ. He gave himself up for our sins. But the Vaishnavas, forgetfulness. They lose thinking of their own self and thinking of how to serve and benefit others. So Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj used the side suicidal squad. And here comes Bimala, because she heard that term. And Bimala said, I want to be in that suicidal squad. But she didn't say, she couldn't pronounce suicidal, so she said, suicidal squad. That was Bimala. She. That was squadaddle squad. How did you say it? Suicidal. And how you said it?
I heard it squadaddle.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It was in between the two. He's right. Yeah.
So she wanted to be in that suicide squad. But we have others who are doing so much service, and like we heard the example given by Srila Guru Maharaj, that one devotee is busy serving his Gurudev, and suddenly a plane, a plane, a flat, what do they call it? Beam, Bimo. But what's the flower airplane? What's the name?
Pushpa.
Huh?
Pushpa Viman.
Okay, Pushpa Biman. Well, one flower plane came from that devotee serving his Gurudev, and a flower airplane comes from Vaikuntha to take him to Vaikuntha, and he says, "I have no time for your call from Vaikuntha. I'm too busy serving my Gurudev. I have no time to tend to your call from Vaikuntha." We heard that story given by Guru Maharaj, that the devotee's too busy serving his Gurudev to take much notice that this flower airplane has come from Vaikuntha to take him there. So we see devotees that are like this. We see devotees, they have no, they have no time to be honored. They have no time for, personal prestige. Here's another one coming. This is Kalindi. Kalindi. You see, she always has a basket of flowers in her hand or something. And we received many letters from. When I came to the ashram, I met Kalindi. So many letters from people who visit here. Say, Kalindi talked to me, and Kalindi received me, and Kalindi answered my letters, and Kalindi is doing this, and Kalindi receives everyone. Kalindi makes the vases for the deities. Kalindi cooks. Kalindi makes flower garlands. So she's one of these. Where the topic is selfless servitors. So selfless service, and these are the kind of persons who are doing selfless service. And in the kitchen, Sureshri, she's always engaged. I tell her, even we would like sometimes to shoo her out of the kitchen. We like to shoo her out. But that reminds me of a story that, Govinda Maharaj said that one godbrother of Guru Maharaj came to the mat, and when Govinda Maharaj is making arrangements for everyone when they come to the mat, so one of Guru Maharaj's godbrothers, sannyasi godbrothers, came to the mat, and Govinda Maharaj wanted to make proper arrangements for him. So he said, "Maharaj," he said, "how long will you be here?" And that godbrother said, "I just got here, and now you're asking me when I'm going to leave." and then Govinda Maharaj said, No, Maharaj, please don't take my offense. That's not what I'm asking, not what I meant. I have to make all the arrangements for your proper reception. So you please, that's why I'm asking, how long you're going to be here, so I can do everything properly. And then that godbrother was joking with Govinda Maharaj. He said, "No," he said, we have come for the service and the association of Sridhar Maharaj, and even if you were to," he used the term, "even if you were to broom us, hit us try to chase us out with a broom handle, even if you were to broom us, we would not leave, because we have come for Sridhar Maharaj." So that's what I'm saying, something about Sureshri in the kitchen. If you say, "Sureshri, come on," she's working day and night, and if you say to her, "Sureshri, please," and then she'll become even angry, and she'll say, "No, you're not going to take away my service." And I just suggested once that somebody else would help and manage the temple, because really sometimes she's very overworked, and she became very disturbed, and she says, "Janardan Maharaj, he wants to take away my service. He wants to run me out of the kitchen, and he wants to bring in this other person." I said, even if I asked that other person to come here, she would not do what you're doing. She would not do that much. She would not do that. So how could I possibly not have you in the kitchen? Of course you'll be in the kitchen. But anytime, she's always looking to jump on service. If somebody's half an hour late, she starts cooking for them. You know, this is her nature. And, you know, we also, I mean, Bimala, I remember Gurudev was here one time, and he had to yell at Bimala because she was every day doing collecting in the airport and every day going, and he told her, "Look, Bimala, I've come here, and you have to come and see me. What is this? That you won't come and see me," because she's thinking, "Oh, it's more important. I have to do service for Gurudev." So Gurudev actually scolded her and told her, "No, I want you to come here." And you remember that, yeah. You know, and Sanatani's in the kitchen, you know. Sanatani, after 5-6 hours standing in the kitchen, she's totally, you know, she has back pains and so many other things, you know, but still she does that. And when I said something like when we were talking about the service for the kitchen, then she also said, "No, I'm going to do every day," and this, and you know. So this is like the attitude of these persons, you know, that they're very attached to their service, and they won't give up their service. And what to speak of, where Divya Shakti. Divya Shakti was the personal collector for Srila Govinda Maharaj, you know. We can say like Udamanyu. Udamanyu, he was collecting for Srila Guru Maharaj, and one time they wanted Udamanyu to collect for the San Jose ashram, a long time ago, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, "No, he is my servitor, and he will serve the Sri Chaitanya Saraswati." And he indicated how, you know, how much necessity there was in the Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math. And Udamanyu, he collected and he helped build the Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math. He helped build Hapania. His collecting did so many things, and that Guru Maharaj, and Divya Shakti is like that. Divya Shakti also was personally in the service of Srila Govinda Maharaj and continued all the time. And even Govinda Maharaj told her, more or less was telling her, you know, that she should should take care of herself and everything, but she couldn't be really detained. And she's like that. She'll tell us, "Oh, I'm not able to continue doing this because, you know, it's my condition and everything." And the next day you'll see her, she's out in an event, you know. One day she's complaining to you that she can't walk and she can't continue, and I don't know how much longer I can do this. And the next day she's at an event collecting. So I can say that she was the personal property of Srila Govinda Maharaj. She wasn't collecting for Soquel or anywhere. She was collecting for Govinda Maharaj, you know. And she's very amazing, because if you send 10 people out at an event and also Divya Shakti, in many cases she will collect more by herself than 10 other people, or almost like that. She's really amazing when it comes to collecting. I don't know how she does it. And I can also say, now I mentioned all the service that Kalindi is doing, but for years and years and years, many years, she was a collector also. And she would always go out and, you know, she also collected very well. She was a very good collector, you know. And Bimala, when she's collecting at the airport, I saw Bimala, you know, Bimala's not taking care of herself. And I said to Bimala, you know, that please, you know, while you're there, you know, you can buy yourself a salad or buy yourself something, you know, for your health while you're at the airport. And she told me, with Gurudev's money, never. She wouldn't buy a salad. I just asked, please, Bimala, buy a salad. No, with Gurudev's money. And then she wouldn't park her car nearby the airport because the airport parking lot charges a lot of money. So she would park it, I don't know how many miles away, and then take a bus to the airport. Even though she's collecting very well, but that, couldn't spend money on the parking lot, couldn't spend money on a salad, and telling me, no, this is Gurudev's money, and she's like that. She really didn't want to take anything out of her collections for her own personal maintenance. And I was just concerned about her health, and she wouldn't listen.
And then I have something to say. Brother, you were concerned. I was very happy.
Yeah.
Very happy. I think that this is our gift. Actually, Seva is a gift. And it's very precious gift.
Yeah, I know. Pero
no
no
voy
voy a comentar de
de
cuántas semanas de cada año estaba enfermo porque no quería cuidarte, pero eso es otra cosa.
Pero ia enferma a sí mismo. But no matter, I would go anyways.
She said I would get sick anyway, even if I didn't. This is what I mean. You cannot argue with her.
Maharaj, and like magic, if I had some problem, like magic would go away. And here I am again, in the suicidal squad.
Yeah, very good. Suicidal squad.
Puro kushetabato.
Well,
Thanks to all of you, actually.
well, there are just some different. There are also different varieties of the suicidal squad because, like, Kalindi was in this suicidal squad also, and so was, obviously Divya Shakti's in that squad. But these are persons who don't think of themselves. They don't want any recognition, really, And I'm sure I wanted to call attention to these persons, but how do you call attention to the persons when they don't really want this?
What about Krishna Priya taking care of Tulsi Devi?
Krishna Priya taking care of Tulsi. And she was taking care of the whole orchard and so many other things until her health wouldn't permit her to, couldn't get around that much to do that. She does all that. She does all that service and at the same time, like Sureshwari, she's a full-time grandmother too. And in between her service, is with her, her granddaughters and Sureshwari's like that also. And Sureshwari is doing all this service. She's also a great grandmother. Yeah.
Maharaj, we have a question from Facebook. Question is the stage of selfless service only possible for those persons who are living at the temple? Are there devotees in the Grihastha stage of life that are serving selflessly? Is that also possible?
Yes, that's going on all the time. I mentioned Sanatani. She's not living in the temple. She lives in the temple, sometimes doesn't live inside the temple, but is here so much but she sleeps somewhere else, but no, Sanatani doesn't live in the temple. She's always engaged in service. Jivana, yes. And we started, I mentioned Yudamanyu, I mentioned Jivana. When we have paid off the mortgage on this property. It's completely paid off, and we're putting that in a land trust, and that will be called the Seva Vikram Land Trust. And Seva Vikram and Jivana, Yudamanyu, Seva Vikram, and Jivana. Jivana never stops doing service, And I can really say that my feeling is that she's one of the most saintly people I've ever met in my life. I have not, there are few people that I could think of as being extremely, to the nth degree, very saintly. I would say Jivana is one, and Purita's wife, Amita Shakti, She's very saintly. You know, she takes, what is her, she has one trust fund set up. I forget the name of it. It's like Milpadas or something like that. She takes, you know, she takes care of the devotees. She has a trust, a charitable group called Milpadas. They take care of homeless dogs. That's Amita Shakti. Takes care of the devotees, takes care of homeless dogs. If there's a dog from the street who is limping around, that, you know, and at her place of residence, she had so many dogs there. You went there, right? One time, and she had this dog and that dog, and you know, like that. So, you know, I one time stayed with Purujit and Amita Shakti, and you know, 5 or 6 dogs there, Cocker Spaniels at the time, that were living in the house, and I got to know all of them personally. But Amita Shakti, she's very, I think, my feeling, Jivana Amita Shakti, she's like very, right, very, seems very, like a very saintly person. And what's amazing about her is that, you know, when she was younger, Amita Shakti, I don't know, I don't want to embarrass her, but she was a very high price, very highly paid model on television for Gillette and all these other companies. I mean, she was famous. She was really famous in when she was younger in Venezuela, you know, as somebody who'd be on television or something as a model, you know, for different advertising companies, you know, they would employ her. And now you see that she's, you know, but in my opinion, she's also one of these selfless servitors, you know. She'll do so much for the devotees, or she really, you know, a nature that they'll do anything for any devotee they're willing to help them, you know. So
What about Sharnangi, the Lord's seamstress?
Yeah, Sharnangi, she's, you know, sometimes it's inconceivable to me that she's always sewing and always sewing, and there's this event coming, this thing, and she says sewing 6 outfits a year, which is really involved. I mean, it's a big thing. We have so many, you know, on the altar, there's the outfits for Gauranga Sundar, there's Gandharvika, there's Giridhari, then there's for the tools, then there's for the Govardhan Shilas, right, Giriraj, and then there's outfits for the small deities of you know, Ramai's small deities that are on the altar. There's 2 Mahaprabhus and Radha Krishna, and then there's, you know, for Tulsi Devi, and then there's for the, you know, small, you know, and so she's so sewing one outfit is very involved. And then she has other people that come and help her. You know, there are other people that come and sew with her, like Malika and sometimes Anuradhak, Lakshmi Priya's daughter Anuradha sometimes goes there and sews. And Lakshmi Priya is also, you know, she's a very good servitor, and I can say she's always trying to, you know, always trying to help me or bring something or this or that. But I stay up there with Ramai, and both of us are kind of what would you call it? Grouchy. What's the word? You know, Ramai had a shirt that said, "Genius by birth." What was it? Genius by birth, grouchy by choice, or something like that. What's the word? Is it grouchy or what? Grumpy. Yeah. Genius by birth, grumpy by choice, I think. I don't know what it is. But he's grumpy, I'm grumpy, and, but so sometimes when somebody tries to do something for Ramai, his retort will be grumpiness. And if they do something for me, sometimes I'm grumpy. Hey, what? Don't put it there. I brought this for you, Maharaj. Don't put it there. Oh, she's a good servitor. And her daughter sews for the deities. But Sharnangi is always doing all these outfits. And speaking of who asked the question, Maldudari, when I went up to Oregon, I stayed at her house, and also Daitya Krishna is there. He's also, he knew I was going to China, so he took me to Macy's and insisted, you need.
So much fun.
And Daitya Krishna, he is also like something that he sometimes appears to be somebody out of the old West, He works on construction. Ramachandra works on construction. Ramachandra was here working, all the time, installing the tiles in the bathroom and everything. I was talking about Sharnangi. She and Ashapriya, Ashapriya really does so much here. He does all the maintenance, and he, sometimes I see him in the rain on his dear tractor Vijay, who was christened by Srila Govinda Maharaj. And like the trucks in India, Vijay has eyes, so he doesn't bump into anything. They put eyes on the trucks in India so they won't hit things. They say, there's some idea like that. So Vijay has eyes, and that's Hashapriya's pride and joy. He brought that tractor back from China, but he'll be in the rain digging ditches or leveling the road and all that. And what is the thanks he get? And so many people come to me and complain, about Ashapriya.
What about Moy Dave?
But I'm going to say Hashapriya, regardless of everything that he does and whatever he does, I know in my heart that Govinda Maharaj is happy that we work together, and I like working with him. So, that is, my feeling when people ask me, and it gives me some. I remember Rishabdev. He used to say this. He used to tell me, "You just be the Maharaj here that everyone comes to see, and I'll be the heavy. If somebody has to be asked to leave something because they're nonsense, he said, I'll ask them to leave, But you don't do that. I will do that. So anything, and he meant that. He didn't. I wasn't going to ask. Whatever Rishabdev, whenever he said, whenever there's something to be done, I'll do it, Rishabdev said. Only in one case, there was somebody who was real nonsense who Rishabdev couldn't deal with it. So he said, Maharaj, you please ask this person to leave. That's only one person, But everyone else, he said, I anything that needs to be done, I'll take care of. And people like Kalindi and Krishna Mohini and others, they depended on Rishabdev. He'd always, he'd always preach to them. He'd always give them nourishment. So who else is like that? Who else is always giving people nourishment here.
Chinmoye.
Huh?
Chinmoye.
Tyagi Maharaj.
Chinmoye.
But I'm saying who lives here. Oh, Gore is very good. He's a very good servitor. Yeah. Gore's a good. What? I'm not a selfless servitor. Anything that happens here, I get credit for that. They give me the mop plates and all these kind of things. I'm talking about the people who are not in the spotlight, the selfless servitors, the people who don't get any credit, the people First of all, as Prabhupada said, he said Vaishnavism is kitchen religion. So sometimes we see more people in the kitchen than there are in the programs. I don't know how that works. And like Ramachandra, he's a very good servitor. He's very big too. Yeah. But I know if he's in the kitchen, there must be chana. Arun Krishna drives here every Wednesday to explain to us, explain to the devotees, and Sarva Bhavana also. They come here, they're hungry for service. They do. Pushti Krishna comes here on Saturday. He speaks for several hours and he explains Bhagavad Gita. And he himself, although he's a doctor, although he's a surgeon, he's also very ill. Like Parvat Maharaj. Parvat Maharaj is also very ill. And he has always been a long-time servitor. And sometimes he's also very grumpy by nature, sometimes, but Srila Govinda Maharaj one time told me, who would not want to have Parvat Maharaj in the temple? Who would not want that? Because Parvat Maharaj would be 6 months of every year collecting in India. And to collect in Calcutta for months and months, that's no easy task. There's not too many places where that are as heavy as, in my opinion, Calcutta is very beautiful. It's actually part of, it's kind of a hub of Bengal, and in one certain sense, it's a very wonderful city. It's spread out everywhere. It's like so many small villages, all interconnected, and when I one time was going to get on a bus in BD Bog or in Dalhousie Square, and the mini bus, it pulled in, and when the bus pulled in, there's so many people waiting in line, and the bus was pre-full. It was full before it ever got into the center of Dalhousie Square, and I'm in line, and I'm looking, and the whole bus is full, and then there's one old man behind me. And he said, "What are you waiting for? Go on, get on the bus." And I said, "Where?" And he said, "Look, when you come to Calcutta, you have to come prepared to fight." This is an old man. He's like 80 years old, shoving me. So then I get squeeze onto the bus, and I'm kind of like my head under somebody's arm and everything like that. That's the way we were collecting in Calcutta. That's what it meant to collect in Calcutta. Later devotees would take taxis sometimes, but we weren't going to cut into our collections to pay for taxis. So we'd be on mini buses and trams and stuff like that. And Parvat Maharaj would do that 6 months of the year. And he was, very expert at canvassing. I would just go to a few rich men that I knew and get some decent collections from them. But persons like Parvat Maharaj and Ashram Maharaj, they find new people. They go all the time. They're always going up and down, stairs. And he can't walk very well. Sometimes he'd use these metal crutches, and he's still, going up and down stairs, doing all this collection in Calcutta. And then Govinda Maharaj said to me, who would not want to have a servitor like Parvat Maharaj? You know. So that's one thing that's very important to us. I don't know, maybe I'm misstating this, but in the Prapana Jivanamrita it says that, you know, you can see your relationship with others by seeing the relationship that person has with the center, and what relationship the center has with that person. So if you hear from Gurudev, who would want a servitor like this person, and you know also that person has much service and much desire to serve Srila Gurudev and holds Gurudev in the highest position in his heart, then you can see that person, you can judge your relationship with that person. That person may be difficult to deal with. That person may be grumpy, etc. But but we have to take Guru Maharaj's guidance, right? It's saying in the Prapana Jivanamrita. So, I mean, so this is, to me, the selfless servitors. Now, you know, there's so many persons like that. Here is Sri Leka. Sri Leka, she's in the Salt Lake City. She lives in the mandir, right? And I'm sure she has something to do with the service that goes on there, right? Yeah, much to do with it. If you're going to serve there, you're going to hear from her, right? Is that true?
Yes.
Yep. You're going to need to get some, not only some guidance, but also some permission to do service. You know, like these persons, they know service is not something, you know, you have to beg for service. I remember there was one person who was there in Navadip, and that person approached Guru Maharaj and he wanted to take sannyas from Guru Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj said, well, then you'll have to do some menial service here, you know, for some time. And that person the next day, you know, was serving prasadam to the devotees, which did earn him some points. That, in fact, he was stopped by someone, I don't know, maybe like a Ranya Maharaj or someone else like that, and said, what are you doing? And he says, I was told to do some menial or low service, you know, and serve the Vaishnavas for some months, so I'm serving prasadam. And he almost ran him off. He said, no. He said, this is very high service. This is not low service. This is not menial service. To serve the devotees prasadam, more or less took the serving implements away from him and said, no, this is not the kind of service that he's talking about. Sometimes people come here, you know, so that's the nature of service, and some of the devotees there doing this service, they're also like watchdogs, you know, they're watching to see, you know, like Guru Maharaj, he heard one time that they were bickering, you know, they were washing, their people were supposed to be, you know, in charge of washing the pots after the, you know, and he heard there was some argument going on. No, you do it. No, it's your duty to do this. And Guru Maharaj heard this from his veranda, and he came down. This was Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and he came down with his cane, you know, and then he started to engage in washing the pots. And Maharaj, please let me do that. And he picked up his cane. No. You know, because they were arguing who would do it. And he starts to wash the pots. No, Maharaj, please stop. I'll do it. I want to do it. And he held his cane up and wouldn't let them come near. No. You know, it was like threatening them because, you know, saying, you were arguing about who would do this. And then Guru Maharaj came down. You know, so when someone tried to take someone, he didn't like that. So when when they try to stop Guru Maharaj from washing, he's like telling you, come here, I'll hit you. That was the implication. Like, don't, like, take service seriously. Don't argue that, no, you do it, no, I do it. Or something like who arguing about, no, it's your responsibility. No, I don't want to do it, you do it. Like, you know, Guru Maharaj didn't like that. And he showed, I believe he showed, you know, he said, you know, to wash the Lord's pots. To wash the Lord's pots. I mean, remember in the very beginning, I asked Srila Prabhupada because I'm a new man, I'm kind of stupid, you know, and what do I know? And I said, Srila Prabhupada was in India and he was leaving for the West, and I said, well, Srila Prabhupada, there's something I don't understand. While you're away, I'll be here in the pot room washing pots, because that was my service and other thing, you know. I'll be washing pots and sweeping the floor and cleaning the floor and everything. So how, and you're gone, how do I understand that I have a connection with you? But, you know, it's, you know, somewhat foolish question. But Srila Prabhupada says, actually, you don't have to wash the pots and you don't have to sweep the floor. That is my service. I have that service, and it is my responsibility. That is my service. But he said, just like if I am doing arti, I may say to you, hand me the fan, you know, to fan the deities. He said, I may ask you, hand me the fan. So he said, but actually it's my service, but I am asking you to help me with that service. Is that all right? That's the way he asked me. So I thought, you know, well, that seems like a very good answer to me. You know, what is the nature of doing menial service in the temple? And, you know, I was told, that's not actually your service. I'm doing everything here, and it's my service to the Lord. But I'm asking you to help me with that. But these persons, they go far beyond asking questions about it. They grab the things out of your hand, and they want to do them. And one example we have in the kitchen is Giridhari, right? Yeah, Giridhari is a very good servitor. He comes here, he came here for this festival. He drove up from San Luis Obispo on his motorcycle to get here and to serve while the festival's going on.
Before, for a while too.
And before also. And he's a very good servitor. He always has been, you know. And he's also one of these people, you don't see him. Sometimes he tells me now, I got some kind of special condition that if I go in the temple, the incense affects me, you know, and it's hard for him to be in the temple of incense because he has this, I don't know, that some kind of special condition of his lungs that can't, you know, there's some people that are like that. They can't tolerate smoke or something like that. He's a little like that.
He's watching the pots during the class also because we cannot be at the table because they...
Yeah, he's washing the pots, and you know, when we were fixing the bathroom, he was there all the time fixing the bathroom. He, you know.
all day long.
Yeah. So who are some other servitors?
Brenda.
Brinda's a very good servitor. Braja Mohini, is she here? Doing service, okay.
Sushila and her husband.
Yeah.
I'm never here. I'm never here.
Always here.
Maharaj, one person that would be nice to mention is Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu in Salt Lake City. He is there looking after the temple while almost everyone else is here.
Oh. Okay. That's what I wanted to say. Premanidi, you know, he's this, yeah, and he would cook cookies for the distributors to collect funds. He would be cooking chocolate chip cookies, which Ramai incidentally won't offer. Ramai is another case.
He always bring beautiful
I was very happy that Ridai Govinda came here because Ridai Govinda, he's helping Ramai so much. Before, I literally saw that Ramai would be awake till 1 o'clock in the morning, and then awake till 1 o'clock in the morning and get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do a service. And as a result of that schedule, Ramai's health was very precarious. But Ridai Govinda came here, and Ridai Govinda is really helping so much with everything from the 4 o'clock offering on. And as a result of that, Ramai can almost get to sleep on time, which has enabled him to maintain his health. And Ramai and Ridai Govinda is a very good servitor. He's always helping and doing very much. And the only thing he wants in return is a place for Brownie to stay.
Some chilies, he says. He's down there in the driveway.
All he wants is some chilies, some roof for Brownie, and some chilies for himself. And that is no exaggeration. I mean, I have seen Ridai Govinda eat with one bowl of rice once. I saw him eat 16 chilies. And if I say, I think that even beats Jagannath Swami. Also, and the people from Mexico City, they call chilangos, because they eat so much chili, right? And Jagannath Swami is not from Mexico City, but he also likes chili, right?
Without chili.
And lots of it. Yeah.
And he also serve with here.
Here's Ridai Govinda. He always he's like a brother of Ramai, because when he came here he was wearing an Oreo hat, the Baltimore Oriole hats, and Ramai's always wearing a Detroit Tiger hat, a D on it, and he has a hat with an O on it.
Between the two of us, it's due. Between the two of us, it's due.
Do, yes, D-O, do. And Ramai's eyes are very sensitive to light. That's why, generally we had those little Christmas lights around the inside of the temple, and sometimes in the morning that's on. I personally think it's a little hokey, but it gives enough light for Ramai to see and everything like that, but it doesn't cause him, when we turn on any of the lights, then immediately he has to put on a pair of sunglasses. And, but people, Ramai has no other expense except sunglasses and his bike. He rides more on his bike, and he rides more on his bike than people ride in their cars when he has free time. So, but he's what's kept the deities going, the worship going on the altar. And Srila Govinda Maharaj said, even if Krishna came down from the altar and gave an instruction to Ramai, he wouldn't listen. And Govinda Maharaj said, we have not seen this kind of thing where Ramai has his own style, throws the handkerchief in the air and catches it. But he's, he keeps the whole, all the worship going. He's, anyway, then who else? So many. I mean, that's what?
Jai Balai.
Well, Jai Balai is in Tijuana. Jai Balai, he collects, he cooks, he does worship, He publishes books and edits books
And take care of the devotee.
and takes care of the devotees and organizes the whole temple and preaches, very actively preaches, you know.
And sings. That's why
And-
he ran out of voice.
He-
Leads the kirtans and everything.
Yeah, so I am, you know, Jaibalai reminds me that I would see on television these entertainers that they would have these pie plates spinning on sticks. And they'd be, you know, spinning this and then spin another one, this, and this one's starting to die, and then he goes spinning like that. So Jaibalai reminds me of that. Like, or we could say he has many different hats. One hat is he's the pujari, and one hat he's the cook and all that. But that temple of Tijuana is going on. Jaibalai does so much, but Jagannath Swami, yeah, he.
Don't want to see him.
Well, you do see him because everyone who goes to Tijuana stays at. Everyone who goes to Tijuana often, for at least for sometimes, stays at Jagannath Swami's house. Everybody has stayed at Jagannath Swami's house. Who has not stayed at Jagannath Swami's house? We do not know. Govinda Maharaj stayed at Jagannath Swami's house. Everybody has stayed at Jagannath Swami's house. He receives everybody, right? And him and Prishni, you know, you're there. They've got to feed you 8 times a day. You know? You just finished a meal and Prishni's serving something out. And then Jagannath Swami's bringing out, here Maharaj, we got this.
And they address you too, Maharaj.
What?
All the devotees. He always brings so many gifts to all the devotees.
Yeah, I have, you know,
It's amazing.
no devotee here will ever go sockless. It's summer, not so necessary, but sometimes you'll see it's very cold, so people line up for his socks.
He brings
But
suitcases
I
to
don't like to
India.
see bare feet.
He
Even-
brings suitcases to India, also
Yeah.
filled with socks.
Yeah. In this area, even the dogs wear socks. And I mentioned all those servitors who were here. Like when we started, the whole temple, Udamanyu was, you know, financing everything by the collecting party. And people on the collecting party were Bhima, Kalindi, Lalita was sent here by Gurudev. Then also Brajamohini, she was in the collecting party. Eva Priya, what's her name from Hawaii? Sudevika. She was here, you know. They were servitors sent by Srila Govinda Maharaj, and they were maintaining everything. In other words, you know, what food was on the table was provided by them, in addition to the rent and everything else. And that's what many of the persons are doing, you know. They're maintaining the devotees, just like I said in the kitchen. They're maintaining the devotees. I don't, you know, who's in the kitchen right now? Radhika, Sanatani, Shruti, Rinda. Another very good servitor is Nilamani. I think he also is very expert in playing mridanga. Should Shuddha Shava once told me, of all my kids, who could have imagined that Shuddha Shava said, who could imagine this little punk Nilamani would learn to play the mridanga so well? But now he would not be able to say that to Nilamani, because Nilamani's not little, he's strong.
Maharaj also Viva Manga. The Viva Manga take care of the deities, he collects with Pavan Maharaj. And he cooked very nice.
And here's Sushila. Sushila also for years and years was collecting in this temple for many years. These two were, Hashapriya, he had a collection group here, and it was like Sushila, she was one of them, and also Vaidehi Norman, Sarvabhavana's daughter, Vaidehi. There are two Vaidehis here. One is Kalindi's Vaidehi, and one is Sarvabhavana's Vaidehi. And both are good servitors.
And Vidura also?
Huh?
Vidura also, right?
Vidura also. Vidura, he's special because when we knew him, he was as small as any of these like skinny kids that are here. Some of the children are growing and they're skinny, right? Like who's one of the Jagannath. Okay, Jagannath is kind of tall and thin. Well, Vidura was like that, but then suddenly Vidura started growing so fast. He started growing so fast that he told me he was growing so fast that it gave him headaches how fast he was growing. So I thought, someday Vidura would earn millions for the ashram by being a professional football player. But that's not his nature. But he became very big. He started out small. I thought he was going to be just a regular kid, but all of a sudden he grew, to be very big, right? He's quite a big person. So, and Vidura takes people, Vidura would always engage, like Vidura's, he is a son of Hashapriya and Sharnungi, so, he was always ready to go out, and he'd travel back east and all over for the collecting party. So, these persons are helping. Now, in Tijuana, we have also persons like Fulamala and Dayavati, and we also have there Asutosh and Ishwari. So they're somebody said, what about, is everyone living in the temple? No, they're not living in the temple, but they have their kids, Fulamala and Dayavati, they have what?
Full of Krishna.
Full of Krishna. Full of Krishna and Dayavati, they have Balaram. Is he here?
Yeah, somewhere.
Somewhere.
Around
Yeah, somewhere, Balaram. And, okay, time. Ishwari and also Asutosh and Vishwambar. There's a... And here is Bumsy. He's a very good servitor. He is. He helps a lot in Guadalajara, and he's kind of like Pitambar's right-hand man. He can be sometimes a rascal, as one would say, but he's a good rascal.
We help him here. When he come here, all we help him.
What?
When Tyagi Maharaj was here, he was doing so much preaching, he was cooking, and now he's giving all these beautiful festivals. He always keeps doing things for this.
That's true. But everybody knows Tyagi Maharaj. Everybody in the world knows Tyagi Maharaj. Everybody in the world knows Madhusudan Maharaj. Who does not know them? Like it's like you said, that everybody will ask, oh, what's Tyagi Maharaj? Where is he now and all that? Everybody knows him. Everybody knows Madhusudan Maharaj. And it's true they are selfless servitors, but everybody knows them. We're talking also about people that, the people that are helping, for instance, Tyagi Maharaj. You were traveling. Who were the people helping you?
Abhinava Sundar Prabhu.
Abhinava Sundar.
Abhinava Prabhu is a great all-rounder of Srila Gurudev. He is a super member of the team. He can drive, he can fix the car, he can play mridanga, he can lead the kirtan, he can cook, he can preach, he can take care of people, and he is always jolly and in a good spirit with good humor.
Anyone else?
Chinmoy Dev Prabhu has organized many programs up and down the whole West Coast and is always enthusiastic for programs locally and elsewhere, and it's very enthusiastic. Mohini Didi has organized so many things. She and Shama came on the whole national tour this year, came and stayed here for 3 weeks, made this whole festival happen. If you want to see a great example of a Grihasta devotee who is fully engaged in service and preaching and serving the mission, you have Braja Mohini at the top of the list. And
she was a long-time servitor here too, and then she wound up in Salt Lake City, and her daughter Shama Mohini is turned into a powerhouse at the school, you know, and bringing so many. She brings so many persons to the temple and everything like that. And here also behind the camera, Indu Leka.
And Marge, I should also mention on the tour, Shachi Didi came with us this year.
Yeah.
She has been doing service in London just like so many of the devotees that Maharaj mentioned. She has been a hardcore suicide squad collector for many, many years. She and Lavanya Didi are practically single-handedly supporting the whole West London mission, which is one of the most progressive, dynamic centers we have in the world, which is, you know, a beautiful attempt to fulfill Srila Gurudev's vision there. So her service there is priceless, as well as her preaching, her very graceful puja,
and
her
singing,
great accommodating of guests. She's another gem of our mission.
Yeah, and she told me I can't come to this program, I'm exhausted, but here she is, stringing garlands while the program, not only at the program, but still stringing garlands at the same time.
Yes, and despite ill health, she hasn't come on the whole national tour and tolerated much austerity in order to do this service. So doing something difficult very graciously, as though it weren't even there, as though it were easy.
Yeah. I mentioned Shama Mohini. I was really, you know, I always thought that Shama Mohini would be a very good servitor, and now she's like blossomed into a very good servitor. And as a result of her enthusiasm, many other persons who are from her school and everything have come. You know. And I'm happy to see Janava. She came all the way here, you know. So what can I say? There's what? Yeah. Ratan was long-time servitor here. Long time. Now he's in Oregon. Okay. So if I haven't mentioned anybody, what can I do?
I was mentioning Shambhunath, and I don't think the Prabhu mentioned
Shambhunath's delivery service. And Shambhunath is very positive in his attitude, you know, beneath that facade of hair and everything, you know. If you ask him, how are you, Shambhunath? What will he answer? He says,
Very good by the grace of the Lord.
Very good by the grace of the Almighty Lord. And if you go anywhere, if you go to a gym, if you go to the store, the person's there working, no Shambhunath. How are you? Oh, I'm, you know, everybody knows him. It's like, you know, if he ever went to Rome, you know, and he stood by, you know, by the Pope, somebody would say, who's that person with Shambhunath? And anybody who comes in at any hour, 12, 1, 2. These are all the waking hours for Shambhadas. Any hour in the night. That fits his schedule perfectly. He can pick up anybody, day, morning, nighttime. He's always available, regardless any time. He'll pick up everybody, whether it's San Francisco or San Jose, like
Oakland.
Oakland.
He brings so many nice people.
Yeah, he's a good preacher. He meets people. Everybody likes him. He's never grouchy. Unlike us, he's never grouchy. He's always got a positive attitude. Yeah.
Maharaj, I'm thinking not too long ago about this kind of keeping everything together in New York City.
Well, there's a Natabandhu. He does work and Ajay Krishna has flown here from London to help with the photography work. You know, and he's in London. He's married to Ratnavali. He's also Grihasta, but he, very happy that he's here in Soquel with us. So. Everybody here is a selfless server. Hari Kripa is over here.
Been so many times over to Temecula, to his house, and he's always doing the maintenance to Tyagi Maharaj.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I say something, Marsh? Hari Kripa has put I don't know how many hours of labor into the Sankirtan van. His home has hosted Janardan Maharaj, Ashram Maharaj, Little Srila Maharaj. And every time we go there, it's like a festival. There's taquitos and enchiladas and mangoes, all this delightful Mexican food from his family. How long are you going to stay? Only that long. What's wrong with your van? Only that much. What a generous-hearted person. I have hardly met anyone like him in my life. So, all the teaching that we've done, all the people that we've brought together, it is because we've had the facility to do that, provided by Hari Kripa Prabhu. We get to drive around and have all these good times, and Hari Kripa is covered in transmission oil, out in the dirt, in the haid, doing this hard work so that this is possible. So we are deeply indebted to Hari Kripa Prabhu.
Yeah. I went there once and my car broke down on the road, and he came and he took it to his shop and put in a new distributor cap, and then while he's at it, he fixed the air conditioning, and then he said, he put on new tires, put on shade on the windows, and also a special thing on the steering wheel so it wouldn't get hot, and said, oh yeah, your master brake cylinder, I saw there's something wrong with that, so I replaced that, and I come back, And then on top of that, he gives you a donation. He's looking very good. Got a very nice haircut. Jolly mood, and we go to Berkeley. Been to his place. He invites the devotees there. He's really kind-hearted. He's brought people to mission who were literally homeless on the street. He's brought them to the mission. So. All right, I'm going to sing Hari Haraya. Here's Sarva Bhavana. But Sarva Bhavana does so many he was doing the Vets Hall program. He does programs here on Tuesday and Thursday. He leads the kirtans on Sunday, the arti. Then, I didn't finish. Who's in the kitchen right now? Radhika, Sanatani, Shruti, Brinda, Ramachandra, and sometimes Sanatani. There's Brajalalana. She employs her granddaughter Brajalalana, and also Ajita Krishna sometimes. Okay, so.
Maharaj, did we mention Kumkum Devi already?
No, we didn't mention Kumkum. And she's, the San Jose temple is there because of Kumkum. We're not for Kumkum, there's no San Jose temple. And she maintains the temple. One of the reasons she's not here is because she does all the deity worship. So she doesn't have really time to come here. But she called and invited me to the program on Saturday, and I said, yes, we're going on Saturday. So from the tour of San Francisco, the bus will end up at San Jose Ashram for our Saturday San Jose Ashram program. I mentioned Divya Shakti.
Leela Shakti and Anantarupa and San Jose.
Leela Shakti and Anantarupa, very good. They are, all the time there. But what about Sudarshan? Hey, you're walking away. What about Sudarshan and Rai, huh? Rai Kishore. They are really the motor. They're the motor behind, the Salt Lake City temple. Sri Lanka does so much service there, but she happens also to be the mother of Sudarshan. And Sudarshan and Rai, they're kind of like, what keeps the motor going. They are the motor. They're kirtan, mridanga playing. You already gave one kirtan workshop, right? And you're doing another one?
He's doing a class. He's doing a talk.
Yeah, he has a talk on Sunday.
Okay. A talk on Sunday.
He's one of our best speakers in the mission.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful class.
Oh, this is Samadhi Mandir, that talk that you gave.
Oh my God, so
beautiful. For me, David Sheesh.
Mike.
For me, where is this mic? For me, David Sheesh is also very much. He's the person in London. He personally takes care of the East London Center, and he has the vision for all of England. He's our jewel from the British Empire, we can say. And in my opinion, in that of Tyagi Maharaj and others, he's one of the best preachers of the present philosophy of Guru Maharaj that there is in the mission. He can explain Guru Maharaj very nicely and quote so many pertinent verses that Guru Maharaj explained, and Devashish can also give their explanation. So, I was very happy that he was coming here, because I know that he really can represent Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj. But he's one of the old time, he's one of the original disciples of Srila Sridhar Maharaj since 82, like that. And he really can, in my opinion, he really is a nice can very nicely represent Srila Sridhar Maharaj by explanations of what Guru Maharaj has given. So, I have, yeah.
Jairam Prabhu is not here.
Oh, Jairam. Yeah, Jairam, after 10 years or something, they gave him permission to go back to India. You know, he was waiting all the time here, you know, and for his papers to go through and all that. And he went to India the first time in 10 years to visit his parents there and his family. So he'll be back on the 22nd, which is the day we end here. Which,
He also knows so many slokas and is such a
oh yeah, he's very good. He's very good. Sridhar Prabhu is very good. Arun Krishna can explain things nicely.
Raja Rama in South America.
Yeah, Rajaram, of course, South America, and in India, Sandeep.
If we start another continent, Mars will go all day.
Yeah, so we'll stop here. I wanted to especially mention here because I know that, you know, we get all the credit for doing everything, and if it wasn't for these people, there wouldn't be anything to take credit for. You know, what can you do? You give a class if there's no one there in the class, if there's no prasadam for the person, if there's no one worshiping the deities. You know, what is it that constitutes, you know, a temple? And especially these small temples like Tijuana, or in some sense, this temple during the week is like a small temple, and then on the weekend it's a big temple. But, you know, sometimes to maintain a small temple is very difficult. People go into the class, you know, they're preaching to the deities, so to speak, you know. All right, so we'll end here. There's the another Vaidehi. I was saying, Vaidehi and Sushila for a lot of years. You know, Vaidehi, you and Sushila for a lot of years were working very, very hard to collect for, you know, the program here with Hasha Priya and everything.
And by then, my daughter also, when she was younger, she was doing lots of preaching and collecting here, and she was cooking. She was also very dedicated here
Yep.
for many years, and then she went to India, lived there.